Hey guys, it's Leslie and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. My name is Leslie and I'm super excited that you're here joining me today. In this video, we are going to be doing step-by-step behind the scenes on making food for my baby at home. We're going to be cooking up some vegetables and a fruit for my daughter, and pretty much we're going to be doing meal prepping for a couple of weeks for her. Preface, my daughter is 5 months old and she has been eating for about 3 weeks now, and my daughter now eats 2 meals a day. And so if you guys want to see this meal prepping behind the scenes, then please keep on watching. So to start us off, I got all of my fruit and vegetables from the commissary. The commissary is a grocery store on military installation, and so I went and I got my groceries there, and let's unpack it together. Okay, so the first one here that we have is broccoli. All of these foods, by the way, are new to my daughter, in which she has not ate, and so we have broccoli. Next up we have is mangoes, and last but not least we do have a butternut squash. And so I have 2 vegetables and 1 fruit for my daughter, and pretty much I just want it to be balanced, and I'm trying to do predominantly vegetables for my daughter. I'm still introducing her to fruits, but because I don't really want her to have a sweet tooth and be so addicted to the fruits at this age, I'm doing more predominantly vegetables with a little bit of fruits on the side. But okay, before we get into the actual nitty gritty of making baby food at home, let's go over the receipt. So like mentioned, I bought all of the groceries from the commissary, in which the commissary does not tax. So the price that it is on the label is the price that you're going to pay at checkout. That's one huge plus about shopping on a military installation. So for the butternut squash, it was $1.39 per pound. And so in total, it was actually $5.37. For the broccoli crowns, they were $2.19 per pound, and so in total it was $2.63. And then the mangoes, it was $1.29 each, and so that was a total of $3.87. So for my 2 vegetables and my 1 fruit, grand total, everything was $11.87. But okay, let's get into the actual meal prepping part of this video. So okay, the way how I like to do this is I do them one by one. I don't do them all in the same step. So for example, I will do one item thoroughly and then I'll move on to the next one, instead of washing them all at the same time, cutting them all at the same time. I feel like that's just a little bit more complicated for me, and so I like to do them just one at a time. And I'm just gonna stop the rambling and show you guys what I mean, okay? Okay, so first things first that I did was get my cutting board and my knife. And then I'm going to start off with the butternut squash, and I already washed it up. And so now I'm going to peel it in the sink. And then when I'm done with the peeling, I'm going to bring it back on the counter and we're going to go back to this POV. So give me one quick minute, guys. Okay. Butternut squash is now peeled. Now let's get into the cutting. Before I do the cutting though, I'm actually going to get a bowl so like that I can put all of my pieces in the bowl and you'll just see the phase and how I do everything. Okay, so I have my butternut squash. My hands are all clean. I have my bowl on the side and my steamer. This is actually from the Baby Bullet steamer that I purchased when I was using with my son for the very first time, and I am reusing it for my daughter because it was just a fan favorite and I really enjoyed it doing for at-home baby making food. So let's get into this. I'm going to cut off the tips on both sides. And I'm going to cut this into smaller, bigger chunks, if that makes any sense, just because the butternut squash is decently big. Goodness. Okay, now let's cut this into smaller pieces. Okay, now that we took out all the seeds parts, we're actually going to leave our 4 pieces with the little sides that it has. And so we're going to cut this up into smaller pieces, and then we're going to transfer it into our steamer. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and as you guys can see, I cut them up into pretty much bite-sized pieces. Now let me grab the rest of the stuff so we can move on to the steamer. So for the steamer, we are going to need this little base, and we are going to need our measuring cup. Both of these products come with the steamer when you purchase it. And thankfully it comes with a turbo steamer user guide. So like that, it gives you instructions on how to do certain things. Half a cup of water. We're going to add this to the base. Put this back on and put all of our pieces in here. All right, and this fits perfectly on the steamer. We're going to put the lid, close it up, again at number 1. So you guys can get a view. The blinking light shows that it's at number 1, and we're going to press the power button. Now it's on number 1. So again, this is going to take 7 minutes for this to steam. Now we're going to cut the rest of these and put them in that bowl so like that it can be ready to do the rotation when this is done. So now we have the rest of our butternut squash cut into bite-sized pieces, and we're going to leave it here. So like that, when this is done, we just do the rotating session of taking these out and putting the uncooked ones in the steamer, and rotate the process of putting in half a cup of water in the steamer on the base. Okay, now that we have our first batch of the squash done and already steamed, it is now ready to move over to our NutriBullet baby blender. And this is the bigger container. It does have a smaller container, but for this purpose, we're going to be using the bigger container. Before we transfer over our steamed squash into the blender, we're actually going to defrost some breast milk. So I pulled out a gallon Ziploc baggie of individual breast milk bags that I had frozen in my freezer, and I took this out so like that I can pop it in my freezer here in my house since I took it out from my garage freezer. But also we're going to be using the breast milk right now for mixing in with our foods, and so we're going to be taking some out. Okay, now that I have given the breast milk some time to thaw out, it is now completely thawed, and we're going to be using this full bag, and if we need more, then I have my other frozen breast milks right here on standby, but for now, this is what we're going to be using. Okay, so to help me transfer the squash into the blender, I'm going to be using a fork. Wait, it's still hard. Ooh, it's still hard, brother. Scratch that. We're actually going to be adding some more time because this is not fully steamed and it is not soft yet, the texture that I want it to be. So we're going to turn it on and we're going to put it for another 7 minutes at level 1. Next on the list that we're going to do while the first batch is re-steaming of the squash is we're going to be moving over to our mangoes. So we have 3 mangoes that we're going to peel and cut into bite-sized pieces. Okay, I now have my 3 mangoes peeled, and now we're going to cut these into bite-sized pieces. And once I have them cut, I'm actually going to put them in this little bowl. Okay, now that I have my mango cut into pieces and I have a baggie of breast milk already defrosted, we're now going to be moving this over into our baby bullet. And so good thing about the mango is that it does not need to be steamed. So we're just going to put it directly in the blender. And with the blender, it does have a max capacity. So we're just going to fill it up with the mangoes at the max capacity. And as far as the milk goes, I like to just add along as I go. So I'm going to add in by eyeing it. And then if I see that it needs more, then I'm going to add more. Okay. So we're going to fill it up just about that much. That was just a quick little 2 seconds. And put the lid on. Put it in the bullet, and to turn it on, we do need to twist and press down. Gonna check out the texture with the spoon. Okay, this is actually perfect texture. And there we go. So now we're gonna transfer these onto containers. And we're going to be filling these up with mangoes. And great thing about it is that one, it has little trays. Two, it has this turning dial, and it has all the numbers on here from the first of the month to the ending of the month. So like that, on the date of the month that it is, you can turn it. So like that, you can keep track of when you made the baby food. There we go. So now I'm just going to prep all of my containers. So like that, I can put in all of my batches of the mangoes. Okay, so the first batch covered 3 full containers. Now we're going to keep redoing this until we're done with our mango batch and we filled up containers. So in perspective, this is everything that my mango baby puree covered. So I got 6 of these, 3 of these, and 1 of these. Again, this is all from the Linktree Bullet Baby, except for these. These are from the brand Oxo. Okay, I know I didn't finish the video up yesterday. Excuse me, just things happen and I had to cut the video shortly yesterday. But in terms of the squash, I was actually able to do 5. I used 2 already, and so I have 3 remaining, and I'm keeping this in the fridge so like that I can have it ready to go for my daughter to eat. But this is day 2, and we're going to continue with our baby food meal prepping at home. But okay, from yesterday, I did chop up all of my squash into bite-sized pieces, and I still have it in the bowl. I just threw it in the refrigerator, but we're back now, and I'm going to take a handful of this, put it in the steamer, and then from there, move it over to the blender, and I'm just going to be showing you guys along with the whole process. So from the squash, I actually learned yesterday that I need to do a full cup of water, and we're going to put it at the number 5 for the timer, and I believe that's 22 minutes. And from there, we're just going to put a handful of this on the top and close the lid. So let's get to it. There we go. Close it up. Turn it on at number 5. And there we have it. We're just going to let that sit, and that's pretty much it for the phase 1 of doing the squash. All right, so I've got some hot water here in this little bowl, and I'm actually going to be adding in some frozen breast milk into the bowl so like that it can thaw out. And I'm actually going to be using my 10 ounces bag just because I feel like I'm going to have a decent amount of baby food prepped for my daughter. Instead of mixing my fruits and vegetables with water when I puree it, I actually prefer to do it with breast milk. One, because it's more nutritious and she gets all the better benefits from it. But also I get to use up all of my frozen breast milk that I have in storage. And so this is just a great kill 2 birds with 1 stone type of situation. Okay, so we've got a couple of things going on. We've got breast milk defrosting. We've got a batch of the squash in the steamer. So in the meantime, let's work on our broccoli. So we do need to wash it, cut it, and prep it. So let's get to washing the broccoli first. All right, so I've got my bowl here on the side so I can put my broccoli pieces once they're cut up into there. And so let's start with the first. I'm going to chop off the base. And this goes in the trash. And then I'm going to take off just enough to the part where it holds the actual pieces together, because we don't really want as much chunk for the puree. We want more of the head for the purees. And I'm just going to cut them into bite-sized pieces once again and put them in my bowl. And now that we have all of our broccoli cut into bite-sized pieces, we're just going to leave this to the side until the steamer is available to continue with the rotation. This is taking me longer than expected, but this is the realities of doing at-home baby food making. We are now on day 3, but this is the last and final day, I promise, because I don't want to make it a 4th. We're going to be doing the broccoli. Good thing I already had it prepped, and I've just been keeping it in the refrigerator. But like mentioned, this is going to be the last day, last part. Let's get into it. So it's already prepped. I already added water to my steamer, and I literally just need to put the broccoli, a handful, in the steamer, and then from there, put it in the blender, mix it with the breast milk, and that's it. So let's do that together, y'all. Okay, so like I mentioned, I already put in my water, which it is half a cup of this one. Keep that in mind. And I did use my steaming chart for reference. And like right here, it says broccoli puree, half a cup, which steamer setting is 1, and it is at 7 minutes. So this is going to take relatively super duper fast. We're going to put the base back on, and then we're going to put some broccoli in here. There we go. Put the lid on, power it on, and then press the power button again. And there we have it. In 7 minutes, this is going to be done, and we're going to do the rotation on this. Okay, steamer is done on the first batch of broccoli. Now we're going to transfer it from the steamer onto the blender ASAP. So again, I'm using the baby bullet. Let's add in some water. I made sure that my broccoli is not filling the max line. And we're going to add in just like a quick 2 seconds of breast milk. 1, 2. To start us off, I have a spoon here on standby and more breast milk off to the side just in case if I need it. And again, we press it down, twist, and the blend is going to start. Okay, because this is a little bit of a textured flavor, I'm going to add just a tiny bit of more milk. Just because I've learned with my son, broccoli is kind of a choking hazard, like to starting for babies. If you don't put it the texture in which your baby is able to consume. And so I just don't want my daughter possibly choking on the broccoli. That's why I added in just a little bit more of breast milk, just to really make sure it's on the safe side for her. Of course, to each their own. Every parent knows their baby best, and it's just personal preference. And there we go. Now this is more of a creamy, tastier texture, which is perfect for my daughter. Now we're going to get our containers to put this and store this away. Okay, so because I ran out of my baby bullet and baby food designated containers, I'm going to use my smallest Tupperware containers that we use for our foods. So here I have this one. I'm going to put the broccoli in it. Honestly, I think all the broccoli just might fit in this one. So we will see. Okay, so this is after the first batch, and like mentioned, this is not ideally how I will store my baby food, but the reason for that is because this is not really pre-portioned, and so I can't really say exactly how many ounces of food my daughter will be eating in that meal or in that day, for example, just because it is such a bigger container. So that's why these are not ideal, and that's why I prefer to use the actual designated baby food storage containers, because those are already pre-portioned. I already know the ounces to those, and I already know how much she ate or she hasn't ate based off of that container. But for the time being and for just the sake of everything, we're going to be using this container for the broccoli. Okay, that is going to be it for this video. I am so sorry that it took me 3 days to fully make all of my daughter's food, but that is it, and that is the realities of doing at-home baby making food. If you guys like this video, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to my channel to support me on my journey here. I would really much appreciate it. And if y'all like my content and want to see more of my content, then you can go ahead and follow me on my other social media platforms. It is lesliedelaylah on all social media platforms. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!